Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
What if healthcare transformation isn't in the spreadsheets, but in your story?
Meet Alexander Fernandez, a leader transforming healthcare with heart and hustle. My journey started with my grandmother's quiet strength. From bedside nurse to Jackson Health System operator, Alexander builds trust beyond spreadsheets. Inspired by his family's resilience, Alexander leads with purpose. The impact on others, that's what matters most.
Things, Grant. Definitely get a mentor. And number 2, don't have the fear. Go forward.
Yeah.
You know, the impact that we have on others is the most important thing.
And I'm going to stop. Welcome, everybody, to the Follow Brand Podcast. This is your host, Grant McGaugh. We're going to bring it all the way back to Jackson Health System. I love the people at Jackson Health. They invited me in. We've had some really candid conversations with a lot of frontline leaders. These are the leaders of now and tomorrow. And I'm always curious about healthcare. I'm always curious about healthcare leadership. And I wanted to really share some stories with everybody because these particular leaders have gone through my BRAVE framework. And they've come across their own unique experiences about how this was impactful for them, how they can use it going forward to help them on their career journey. So first, I'd like to get you introduced to Mr. Alexander, the Mayor Fernandez. Alexander, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Grant. Thank you for having me on your show. My name is Alex Fernandez. I'm a corporate director here at Jackson Memorial Hospital, Health System, sorry. I'm in charge of nursing operations for the system, and I'm glad to be a part of your show and you're part of your course. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you. We had 4 to 5 weeks together in which you shared some things with me. We shared with each other, actually, about your journey, about what you're doing. Now, I want to ask you this. We're going to kind of jump right in, right? And I want you to share your journey from frontline nursing to becoming an operational leader. Can you give us some context around that?
Absolutely, Grant. So my story begins in a house filled with compassion where my grandmother showed me what it meant to serve others quietly and consistently. And what shaped me was my parents, my work ethics, working hard. My father, who also was a Cuban orphan from Cuba, who came here through Peter Pan. He became the first Hispanic cop here at Metro-Dade, later to become a drug enforcement agent, to then becoming a drug diplomat for the United States. Seeing all that, reaching his highlights in his career, and the pursuit of his purpose, of the work ethics that set the tone how I would live my life. By entering nursing, for me, I embarked in the nursing career. I carried the nurturing qualities of my grandmother, which modeled through my parents, and persistent work ethics to commitment to higher education. With that deep belief and continuous growth, I dedicated myself at advancing brand. But when I stepped into leadership, I believed that care didn't end at the bedside. And from the frontline nursing to patient access director, from service line administrator to stroke program leader, I led through all these crises to realign teams, help restore performance when it mattered most. What I've learned above all this is that people power is the most important.
Well, you said it there. You have what I call a unique people first approach. In talking to you, you just shared some of the things I thought things your family was able to accomplish in coming here to America. And it's very inspiring. It's very inspiring. And so my question, I think the audience would be very intrigued to understand a little bit more that this approach, this people first approach influence, does it help in your leadership style, your operational decisions? How does that work for you?
So being a leader who never loses sight on the human core, I've created a high trust environment where staff feel supported and motivated to perform. While others focus on metrics, I build culture to sustain performance, reduce turnover, foster loyalty across clinical and administrative teams. My ability to transform moral into momentum makes me unique suited to lead workforce transformation at a scale, especially in moments of crisis, transition, and operational fatigue. What really drives me is building that trust and structure at the same time, Grant, making sure that operational support are people, not just numbers.
Man, I'm glad you said that. We hear that so much from leadership, or even, people that are doing the work. They think like, wow, everybody's just pushing paper. They're just looking at the finances. They don't see that I'm a person, not a number. I think that's so important to understand. And as we unpack that even more, and because we're talking about frontline staff, we're talking about people. Can you give us a specific example where you feel your leadership significantly improved the organizational performance based on your people first approach?
Absolutely, Grant. Unlike leaders who operate in silos, I bring rare ability to connect departments, align symptoms, execute strategy across boundaries. I have led successful initiatives spanning from patient access, stroke care, workforce staffing, and service line integration, always with the mindset of cohesion over control. My strength lies in bridging both clinical and administration goals, translating the big picture strategy into practical action, ensure execution without an ego. Well, this makes me the operator that executives trust when multiple parts must move as one. And when healthcare systems need both speed and stability, right?
That's important. Thank you for about speed, ability. You're executing, but at the same time, you got to balance compassion, right? You got to be compassionate because what you're doing in a high pressure healthcare environment is very, very important. So I want to understand, how do you keep that balance, in with strategic execution? Because you've got your orders from people that you serve, and then you're serving people on your team. They're serving you and what you want to accomplish. I want to understand how you balance that compassion with strategic execution in these high pressure healthcare environments.
In today's dynamic healthcare landscape, my role plays a pivotal role in aligning clinical delivery, operational efficiency, and enterprise strategy to meet escalation demands and high quality. Value-based care in today's high-pressure environment, one must lead through the complexity of precision and agility, transition and vision, into executional while building scalable systems that improve outcomes, cost control, elevate patients and staff experience. Like success in my roles demands mastery and cross-functional leadership. Data-driven decision making, the workforce integration across diverse service line, especially leveraging technology, is on the technology, right?
That's important. You just, obviously I'm a big tech guy. I understand the technology. I understand what you've got to do to operate in these high level environments because lives are at stake. And that leads to another, I think, very important question. And that is, there's some big challenges facing healthcare operations today. Everybody knows about it. The workforce, the finance issues, the clinical design, you name it. But how are you uniquely equipped to address them?
So as a healthcare organization face mounting regulatory pressures, financial constraints, and shifting in consumer expectation nowadays, we're expected to have champions in innovation, optimize the resource allocation, and of course, most important is foster that culture of accountability, collaboration, and continuous improvement.
I love continuous improvement. That's a tech term, right? Continuous improvement.
Continuous improvement.
Continuous design. You're doing that because you're moving people on both sides of the ball and trying to make sure you get a positive outcome. Now, that's the goal, right? Have a positive healthcare outcome. And then especially during our discussions, we understand to operate at the level that you operate, you've got to integrate financial discipline with the data that you've been given. So data-driven decisions, very important. How do you drive that into your leadership practice?
So by bringing departments, connecting people with the purpose, that's critical, and transforming operational chaos into coordinated performance. By doing so, we redefine what healthcare leadership looks like at a system level, becoming not just operators, but architects of sustainable, people-centered transformation is the key.
I think that's important. Now you're bringing up a lot of the technical and tactical aspects of what you do. I want you to help because a lot of people don't understand. They understand what a doctor does. They understand what a nurse does, to a certain degree. But help us understand from a COO level. I'm going to, if you were an operations officer, describe me a scenario where you successfully navigated organizational change, or it could have been a change or a transformation. Can you give us a description?
Absolutely, Grant. So I was selected to lead a system-wide technology implementation that impacted every level of my organization, from frontline staff to executive leadership. My role was to spearhead this deployment of technology across clinical providers and ancillary departments, ensuring seamless integration and adoption. This initiative required organizational awareness, extensive planning, strategic communication to gain staff buy-in, which is critical. Multiple meetings were held to support this implementation, along with essential resources to facilitate this transition. None of this would have been possible without the dedication and collaboration of my team and senior leadership support. Over a course of a year, we were successful implementing this technology across both inpatient and outpatient facilities. Our success was driven by careful planning, teamwork, and shared commitment at the operational level.
So that's important. I like to hear that because you got a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of moving parts. All these different departments, all these different things are happening, usually behind the scenes. Sometimes it could be a thankless job. I mean, people just don't realize how did you get to that level, especially if you're a patient in the hospital and you're sitting like, wow, I survived. Like, yeah, but you know how close it was. But you've got to coordinate all of those things and make it happen. And that's what from an operational level, you're doing that. Now, through our work, like we did through the BRAVE framework, right? We came up with a tagline for you, Alexander Fernandez. And that tagline was AF, the heart behind the hustle. How does that reflect your leadership value?
So I love it so much, I added to my email signature. So I'm a leader who blends frontline compassion with enterprise precision, trusted by my calmness of authority, operational excellence, and people first approach. I'm known as the mayor. My relation leadership style, it unites both clinical and administration teams to drive results, elevate the patient care, and of course, prepare organizational to be scalable for future-ready transformation. So the heart behind the hustle, it's me.
I love that art behind the hustle. When I saw that, I said, that's him. That's who he is. That's what he does. That's what he exudes. I think when people see that, like, yeah, that's him. It's like putting on, a suit that fits, and it fit without question. And as we worked together, we did a lot of role playing. We got a better understanding of how to deliver on the aspects of what you bring to the table as a leader. I want you to help us understand from your lens, what role do you feel that mentorship plays in your leadership strategy, both from a personal level and also for your teams?
So from a personal level, along the way, I was fortunate to have a CEO who recognized my potential and took the time to mentor me, Grant, helping me navigate challenges and honing on my skills. His guidance shaped me into the person I am as a person, as a leader, and today, as a compassionate caregiver determined for professional and advocate for growth and development, from both nursing to leadership position, every step was a reflection of my traits instilled in me by my family and by my mentor. Due to that, in my gratitude for his mentorship and wisdom I have received, I'm committed to giving back passionately through mentorship and nurturing others to growth and helping them to reach their goals. Through this cycle of support and empowerment, I continue to honor his legacy of those who inspired me and shaped my journey.
That's important. You got to have good people around you. You got to have people that believe in you, advocate for you, because they see that all of us are going to be moving on. We're just moving through these worlds. If you don't prepare the people around you, you don't prepare your team, whether it's the team above you, the team below you, the team around you, you're going to run into issues. And as we become intentional about that, we can have better outcomes and achieve the goals that we want to achieve. I want to ask you, where you sit now, and as you look toward the future, what impact do you hope to have on healthcare systems and patient care for Alexander Fernandez?
I want to be able to lead transformational healthcare operations by bridging both clinical with compassion and strategic execution, empowering teams, elevating systems, honoring the legacies through operational excellence, definitely mentorship and visionary leadership. It's key.
It's very key. All of that is key. I now I want to get a little bit more, on the lens of the BRAVE framework. You went through my program. You had their brand assessment. You had a skills gap analysis. You had the BRAVE blueprint strategy. And now we're here at the level we can have a conversation with our audience about that experience. From your lens, how did you feel that program helped you?
It helped me in a lot of ways, Brad. From finding my why, finding my brand. I have my tagline. That skill set comparison you're providing me, that blueprint, show me tactics and where I have opportunities to take me to the next level. Highly recommend it.
You're going to be at the next level. We went through that entire process, and we kept coming across. And one thing I like, and I'll share this with the audience, is that you get to look at yourself not just where you're at now at Jackson, but on the national level. Where do you sit in relationship to your market, and what does that look like? And man, I was like, you're there. You have what I call natural gravitas, right? Not everybody has that. You don't have you say, well, how do you get there? Like, well, some of that has to be your own personality and belief system and conviction. And when you had to develop your personal story, remember I asked that, like, all right, Alexander, can you help me understand where you're at now, your current state? Help me understand what you've been doing over the last 5 years. You had to write a story. You had to actually write it out. How did you like that exercise?
I liked it. It was a little bit emotional because it shows my legacy from how I started to where I'm at now. So it was a little bit emotional. Um, Looking back from when I started as a nurse, but going to leadership and all the mentorship that I received from the CEO, and then the person who I've become today. Um, yeah,
Quick
so
question.
I still pitch myself, Grant, so,
Well,
and keeping myself humble at the same time.
and that's you have that humility. And we always say, well, and it's always good. And I worked with a lot of different people, but sometimes because you're moving so fast on your day to
Yeah,
day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter, that you don't always get a chance to reflect and look back at your whole journey, right? What has that journey been? And you're like, wow, you know what? I was in a role 5, 10 years ago that I probably couldn't see myself in my current state of where you're at now and where you can go. If you had to go back and talk to that younger Alex, that Alex that was 5 or 10 years ago, because there's people in your position or in that position right now, and they were like, wow, man, I want to be just like Alex. What would you suggest some things that you felt would be very beneficial for them?
two things, Grant. Definitely get a mentor, and number two, don't have the fear. Go forward.
Yeah,
The impact that we have on others is the most important thing. Move forward.
that whole confidence world, as you said earlier, like as you get another, step up the rung, let's say, you get that another step, and then you always have that, and this happens even at the CEO level or board level. There's that moment of, can I do this job? People call it now imposter syndrome. I don't really like the term imposter, like you feel like you're not who you're supposed to be. But no matter what, everybody gets butterflies when they're about to do something new,
You. Yeah.
right? Right. But the only way to get, at least for me, the only way I get confidence is by doing it. At first, I have to rehearse it. I've got to like get my juices going. And then when I get out there, you can really, let the engine go. You're like, we're down in Miami, right? You got to get the boat on plane and you
Yeah.
got to get it going. And then, you're flying out there, right? 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 I
Right.
want to be very honest because we had this conversation real early. Like, Grant, I'm a little nervous. I'm going to be on the podcast. I'm going to be talking to people. I'm just not sure. But here we are getting toward the end. You're motorboating now, right? Right?
Yeah. I'm planning now.
You're up on play. You're up
Yeah.
on play. You got the confidence. Talk to us about how do you gain that confidence for yourself?
Grant, I think it's the experience living through the day-to-day operational, and stepping in that role, and then just working hard what you do, and confidence to me is experience. Um, that's the bottom line. It's not that I'm smarter. It's just that I've been exposed to that role or that job or that project, and building that experience. That's what builds confidence.
Love that. And you're starting to take on some high level, high visible projects now. People are seeing you. Now, you're feeling confident, like you can sit in the boardroom with the board. You can sit in the
Mhm.
room with the C-suite executive because they're coming to you about operational, situational awareness, I guess, that you have that others maybe not have, but they feel confident that you can get the job done. That's gonna be a good feeling, right?
It is. At first, it's scary. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I don't let fear stop me, like I mentioned. And then, just once you get into that project, just get going. And it's nice to be recognized and being selected for these system-wide projects. I'm very blessed.
I love it. I love it. We're going to go ahead and conclude. This has been a really good session. I want to tell you and I want to tell your family, it was a joy working with you. It was a joy understanding your story. I wasn't even aware when you said like Peter Pan. I'm like, Peter Pan. I'm like, well, what exactly is that? And then you're telling me that your father, I believe,
My
became one of
father.
the first police officers, Latin police officers in Miami-Dade. So, that's that moment like you lean in, like this guy actually has a story. And he has a story that I want to listen to. And then understanding how he got into the healthcare field, and then how he's gotten this track all the way up to healthcare leadership at this point, and then he still has room to grow. And you're becoming this whole new person that from where you were when you first started out. I think it's been wonderful. I want to thank you and your family and Jackson Health again for having this type of program, because this is how we can all come together. You never know when you're going to touch the healthcare system. No one wants to be in a hospital on the patient side of that.
Correct.
But if you are, you want to know that there's people like Alexander Fernandez who's, hey, I got your back. We're going to get through this, together. Because as you said, you've had the experience, you've seen how this happens, the players that need to be involved, how to communicate the situations to all the key players so that we can have successful outcomes, not only in just your particular hospital, but throughout the system. I want to thank you again. How do we get you on Modern Healthcare?
How do I get in Modern Healthcare?
Yeah, how do we get you to do an article for us on Modern Healthcare?
We could definitely connect after this, Grant.
Well, we're going to get you there. And before we let you go, how do we get in touch with you? Tell us about your LinkedIn handle. What's the best way?
So you could reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm under Alexander A. Fernandez. I work for Jackson Health System. And also my email is afernandez3@jhsmiami.org. Thank you.
This has been wonderful. I want to thank you again for being on the show. I want to encourage your entire audience to tune into all the episodes on Follow the Brand at 5-Star BDM. That is the number 5. That is star. That is B for brand, D for development, Informationals.com. Again, this has been wonderful. Thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you, Grant. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Man, who's your favorite podcaster? Man, Grant, man. I love Grant's podcast. Well, who's Grant? I'm going to send you the link. I love Grant.
I love the interview. I've done a lot of these, and this is a great one. It's always great to talk to people who know what they're doing, and it's clear you're a great host, and you've done this many times before.
I feel great that we're having this conversation here. Met a new person in business who I previously didn't know.
It was an amazing podcast. Grant is an amazing interviewer. I learned a lot.
I really enjoyed this. Great questions, great talk track. Super appreciate you having me on. It's been a very fun episode to talk about a lot of things that I don't always get to dive into. So this has been a fantastic conversation.
I wouldn't be where I am here today, of course, not on this stage. However, not in my current business projection and my current business model without working with you.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaw, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-Star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaw explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you.